The Pittsburgh Steelers drafting Kaleb Johnson, it's so much better than you think. This is absolute NFL robbery, and we're looking at no second round for you guys. Absolutely no problem. And this actually comes after already stealing Derek Harmon. Thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. I mean, the passing of his mother right after he became a Pittsburgh Steeler. Let's make sure we're praying for him. But for the purposes of this video, I want to focus on the Steelers just adding an absolute stud at running back in Iowa's Kaleb Johnson. So the main question here when we're talking about Kaleb Johnson, what exactly does he bring to the table for the Pittsburgh Steelers? How is he going to fit in? We're looking at Kaleb Johnson. He's 21 years old, but he's a bruising one-cut runner. He's going to fit in absolutely perfectly as a zone scheme runner in offensive coordinator Arthur Smith's offense. It's just an absolutely perfect fit. And last year, he accounted for, get this, 66 missed tackles in 2024. That's the sixth most in college football. And he's big. He's 6'1", 224 pounds. He also brings the Steelers a little more size at the running back position, right? 215-pound Jalen Warren and 201-pound Kenneth Gainwell. They were at the top of the team's running back depth chart before Johnson joined the team. And he also gives them a bigger back to help replace Najee Harris, right? He's over with the Chargers. I almost said San Diego. Sorry, I'm old school. But Najee Harris, he rushed for more than 1,000 yards in each of the past 4 seasons for the Steelers before leaving in free agency this offseason. And this is Sports Talk Steelers. I'm Sean. Hey, this is draft season. I'm primarily a Bears guy with a Bears channel, but when Justin Fields came over to this team, I started watching, decided to start doing a channel out of fandom for him, and you guys have really grown on me. And I like to say that my hatred for Aaron Rodgers, that actually might keep me here. Regardless of what happens, I'm going to continue to be here giving you Pittsburgh Steelers news on the daily from an outsider's view, not just a fanboy perspective. So hit the subscribe button. Would love to help you start building this with me. So with that being said, let's talk about Kaleb Johnson. And I want to talk about who he was in college here. I think the fit with the Pittsburgh Steelers is obvious. I think it's safe to say that he pretty much put the Iowa team absolutely on his back, and this is kind of a rare thing, this type of production in this circumstance. In 3 seasons at Iowa, Johnson rushed for nearly 2,800 yards, and that included 1,537 yards and 22 touchdowns in 2024 on 240 carries. So what does this tell you? First of all, he's just an absolute beast. He can handle a heavy workload, and zone runs have been his specialty in college. That fits in so perfectly with what Arthur Smith likes to do. 191 zone runs last year, and that's absolutely insane. 191 of his 240 carries were zone runs. Perfect scheme fit here. And then we're looking at 1,537 yards. Out of those 1,500 plus yards, PFF shared that over 1,000 of them were after first contact. Absolutely unbelievable. This guy runs strong. And on top of that, he ran strong against stacked boxes. And this is absolutely crazy. I did not know this until I looked it up. 50% of the time, that was the case during his time at Iowa. 50% of the time running against stacked boxes. And you got this type of production. Now, to make it more clear, a stacked box is considered 8 or more defenders coming up at the line. To put that into perspective, he's at 50%. No other running back in this draft class with enough runs to be eligible. No other back in this draft had over 39% against stacked boxes. A rare workload, rare production in adverse conditions like you saw at Iowa, right? Guys, I think this is a special running back for you guys. And you guys should be absolutely geeked that he's a Pittsburgh Steelers. And you got him deep in the 3rd round. Absolutely ridiculous. Now, this is a splash. 12 games with a touchdown in every single game as well. And this is in the Big Ten. This is top-level competition. These aren't just splash games. 12 games with a touchdown, every single one. And that's saying something as well, because you're looking at a lot of these backs in this draft that are going highly. They have big splash games, and then they have games that they underperform. Kaleb Johnson was consistent across the board. Now you have a concern about ball security. That's always a concern. Not a single fumble. And now we're talking about power, just a one cut and go type of runner. He's not a burner like Travion Henderson, right? But he still ran a 4.57, which is impressive because we're talking a 6'1" and 224-pound man running a 4.5. I mean, that's ridiculous. So I'm just going to go by the eye test and not the 40 time here. He's not here on your team to be a burner, but against stacked boxes, he still had 21 runs of 20 or more yards. That's ridiculous. 28 carries of 15 or more yards. 40% of his team's offense. And as a comparison, what is the only other player in this draft class that had more than 40% of his team's offense? I'm sure you can guess. Yes, that's Ashton Genty. He accounted for a higher percentage, and it wasn't by a lot. We're also looking at consistent yardage, not just touchdowns in every game. He had more than 100 rushing yards in 8 of Iowa's 12 games in 2024, and he also topped at least 86 rushing yards in all but 2 games. Constant production as far as yardage. And we're looking at Iowa running a run-heavy scheme. He didn't really have the opportunity to showcase his pass-catching chops. But what he was given, he did have 22 receptions for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns from catching the pass in 2024. And that really says something in an offense like Iowa had. So the guy can catch the football too. And to me, that's the most intriguing part of his game for me, to see how involved he can be in the passing game. This is just a complete back, though. He's going to platoon with Kenneth Gainwell as well. He's a great value on third downs. We just got him from Philly. He joined your team. And also, we've got Jaylen Warren. He just signed a contract, and this was back on Tuesday afternoon. The team announced that Jaylen Warren, he signed his 1-year tender as a restricted free agent. That locks up his spot on this roster, and it also sets him up to reach unrestricted free agency next offseason. I'm not so sure he's going to be long-term on the team. Johnson is definitely the back of the future, but Warren being here this year, it really makes for a nice running back room. And Warren, he figures to step into a larger role this season following the departure of Najee Harris, especially at the beginning of the year. And Kenneth Gainwell, he's still in the room. He's going to be there with Warren in a rotation, and that's after agreeing to his own 1-year deal with Pittsburgh last month. The team was expected to add another player at the position. Kaleb Johnson was exactly that player, and this is an absolute steal for you guys, getting him in the 3rd round. And once again, we're looking at Jaylen Warren. He's a former undrafted free agent out of Oklahoma State in 2022. He actually ran for 511 yards and a touchdown on 120 carries last season, while tacking on 310 receiving yards over 38 receptions. He's been a really good pass-catching threat. And that's going to be the intriguing part about this. I want to see how Kaleb Johnson fits into that portion of the game. Jaylen Warren isn't going to be here long term. Kenneth Gainwell certainly isn't. He just kind of bounces around, and I think he's going to continue to do so. I want to see if Caleb Williams can truly be a 3-down back. I think he has the skill set, but that's going to be the intriguing thing about camp and preseason. So you guys, you should be so glad that you grabbed this player in the 3rd round on top of it. Absolutely ridiculous pick. You guys let me know in the comments what you think about it. I'm going to continue to be here with Pittsburgh Steelers News on the Daily, and we'll talk soon. See ya.